Let's see. Doctor Who's coming on in 2 minutes and I have to tape it. I'll just briefly introduce the next segment before I go on to do that. Battletoads. Have you heard of it? It's a wicked game for Nintendo. I figured, well, we should have a Nintendo game for everything, because Nintendo's a cool system too. Even though it's mere 8 bits of technology, it pales by comparison to stuff like TurboGrafx-16, Sega Genesis, and the more recent 24-bit Neo Geo system. It's, but still, they have some good games for it, and I think I found another good one, namely Battletoads. And here it is. Here's the first 3 levels of it. I played Chris. I was playing this with Chris. He played the first level. I played the second level, and he played the third level. Okay. Nice graphics in this, not bad sound either, and altogether a great game. So check it out. The Nintendo Game of the Month.
A rare production. Copyright 1991 Rare Limited. Licensed by Nintendo of America Incorporated. Alright, here we go. So I'm willing to wager this is something that a lot of you may have never even heard of. Rash, zits, and pimple. Yeah. I don't know why all the main characters are named after skin conditions, but go figure. So this is basically just a little attract mode to give you a bit of the story and kind of set you on your way, give you the backstory. Now, the obvious thing you probably think of as soon as you see this is like Battletoads, 1991. Is that some kind of Ninja Turtles ripoff? Honestly, I think the simple answer to that is yes, and a pretty blatant one at that. Basically, the Turtles were at the height of their popularity, and everybody and their dog was trying to find a way to cash in on it and come up with their own kind of thing. Battletoads, I think, was one of the better attempts at a quote-unquote ripoff, because it actually has its own style and its own originality to it. Yeah, so, you know, instead of turtles, they're toads. Both amphibians, of course, but instead of martial arts, these guys basically just kick a lot of ass. But the cool thing about this, as I think I mentioned in the intro? I mentioned it in one of the commentary segments anyway. But one of the cool things about this is the exaggerated cartoon style, where, you know, you'll be punching an enemy and suddenly you'll have this huge fist, or you'll kick him and suddenly you'll have a huge foot with a boot on it and stuff like that. Yeah, but you'll see what I mean. There's lots of little examples of the cartooniness there. Pretty good graphics for a Nintendo game too. Like, that ship was awesome. So here we go, just some classic beat-em-up action. Basically, toads versus pigs, of course. The natural enemy of the toad. Oh, and robots, the other natural enemy of the toad. Also, I guess, unlike Ninja Turtles, this is not based on Earth. The Battletoads are, in fact, aliens, and these are all, like, alien creatures. And all the action takes place on alien planets. I always found it kind of odd how they basically created 3 Battletoads characters, yet you can only play as 2 of them. So there is actually a 2-player co-op mode to this. One of the big complaints about it, though, is that there was no way to turn off friendly fire, as it were. So it was all too easy to accidentally beat the tar out of your friend while you were trying to take care of the enemies. Yeah, so you had to be... It sort of added another level of challenge to an already very difficult game. But, I mean, ideally, you would have thought, like, oh, co-op mode in a really hard game. Like, well, it doesn't look hard now, but just you wait. The beginning's comparatively easy. But you might be thinking, like, well, co-op mode in a really hard game sounds like a great idea, you know? Two fists are better than one. But, yeah, if there was some way to turn off being able to harm each other, then yes, it would have been great, you know, and you would have been able to kick ass all through the game. But the fact that it was just too darned easy to hit each other made it really annoying. Yeah, look at that. Jaw drops. Now this I thought was a really cool idea. Basically, how many games can you think of where you get into a boss battle and you're fighting the boss from the point of view of the boss, you know? Also, a nice little bit of, you know, a nice example of less is more. You never actually see this. I mean, you know it's some kind of giant robot, but you never actually see it. I think the assumption is always that it was a large version of those little yellow ones that you were fighting earlier. But you never actually see it. Which I thought was pretty clever. You just see like its foot, and then of course its guns when it's shooting at you. So here we go to the impact crater. Yeah, the impact crater was one of the spots where two-player co-op was particularly useless, and I'll show you why. Okay, I'll just kick some crows or whatever off the ledges there. But there's one particular move. Yeah, you see like he has big feet there. That's cool. There's one particular move that you can only do in these craters. That was particularly treacherous in two-player co-op mode. So it's not actually sword, he's using a feather there. I always really liked the music in this, too. I thought it was phenomenally well-done music. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so this move here, this wrecking ball move, yeah. So easy to just clobber your friend when you're doing that. It was just way too hard, and needless to say, Chris and I nailed each other quite a few times with that one. Yeah, it was crazy. Crazy, man. There's actually, if you keep hitting a bird after you've hit it once, like and hitting it in midair, you can actually get, oh, like this, yeah. You can actually keep doing that as long as you can, and you start getting one-ups after a while. Now these birds you want to take out quickly because they will actually snip your wire. So their big beaks are kind of like scissors. So if they start, they'll give you a few seconds to come in and deal with them, but then when they start moving across the screen, they'll actually wipe out your wire. Here we go. Boom! 2-for-1 special. How do you like that? I was going to say, yeah, one of the things that I thought was really cool about this was it was the kind of game that just kept on surprising you. You know how most beat-em-ups would kind of have like just a standard move set where you'd have like, you know, your standard punches and kicks and then a couple of super moves. Well, with Battletoads, they took it to the next level, you know, like they really did, because almost every level you were in, it would give you some different move you could do, like that was specific to that level. Or some other little cartoony reaction to something that was specific to that level. Oh, double 2-for-1 specials, that's awesome. It's definitely handy to have that feather, you know, having that extra thing. But overall, I mean, we both Chris and I really enjoyed this game a lot. And, you know, the controls are super easy to get the hang of. Like, a lot of the moves, like super moves that you do, it's just a matter of putting yourself in the correct part of the screen or just hitting the punch or kick button rapidly to activate the move. The Chasm. Now, a lot of people who played this game didn't get any farther than this. I was actually never able to get past this level. So you'll actually see that this is actually my friend Chris playing. But, yeah, it was crazy. As you can see, whoa, the craziness. Not really. Oh, and these guys. See, like, here's another little thing, like, a little surprising. Who would have thought, like, some of the original Space Invaders would show up? You know, to steal. And you see what they were doing there? They were actually stealing the squares off the life bar. And, yeah, you don't want to be losing the life bar there. Life is precious here. Basically, you eat flies to regain health. 1-up basically gives you a 1-up. There you go. They're a little tricky. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, it's a 2D game, but it definitely takes place in like a 3D space. You know. Oh, that's another thing you got to be careful of. Is because you usually do like 2 or 3 hits and then a super punch or a super kick. And the super move always sends you flying forward a little bit, so you got to be careful. Yeah, like that. See, you got to be careful that you're not standing on an edge there, like he was just there. Okay, here we go. Now this is the part that most people would just give up. At first you think like, oh, this is so cool, and then you realize how impossibly difficult it is and how long it is. Now, Battletoads is a classic example of an old school game with an insane difficulty curve. I gotta be honest with you, I think games today are way too freaking easy. I mean, people say, like, oh yeah, I beat this game, I beat that game. It's like, well, good for you. I beat that game in like a day. Oh, well then it was really challenging, wasn't it? Yeah, try to beat Battletoads in a day, alright? The first time you've ever played it. I mean, come on, that's just not possible. So we basically rented this for a weekend and played it all frickin' weekend. And we got, well, you'll see how far we got. I won't spoil the surprise. But needless to say, we did not manage to finish it. So this will not be a complete playthrough. But, yeah, so I think we're actually coming up to the end of part 1 here shortly. We'll just see how we're doing. So I'm going to say goodbye now. And we'll see you in part 2. Oh, there we go. See you in part 2.
Was the chips and the milk. Dig those crazy speeder bikes, eh? So that was Battletoads. As you can tell, it's quite an interesting game. One thing most people notice right away is the sort of exaggerated cartoon-like aspects of it. Like, for example, when your character punches an enemy, his fist gets really big and exaggerated, or his foot, or whatever, and stuff like that. There's all sorts of great moves and things you can do in it. So if you're in the mood for a beat 'em up kind of game with a twist, I would very highly recommend Battletoads. It's a good game. I guess that wraps up this video letter. For now. No, not for now. It wraps up this video letter completely. This is the end. It's all over. There's no more! Well, yes, there's millions more things I'd like to show you, but unfortunately there's only just, we only have so much time on a 2-hour tape. And besides, if I showed you everything now, it wouldn't have anything for video letter 6. Video letter 6 is going to be bigger and better than ever, as usual. Hopefully I'll have completed Dragon's Lair by then. If not, I'll show you a couple of scenes anyway so you can see what it's like. I do have on tape several levels of the Nintendo Entertainment System version of Dragon's Lair. So perhaps I'll have a special Dragon's Lair section in the next one or something and compare the two of them. Well, needless to say, there is no comparison, but the Nintendo one's better. You're right. or you told me a while ago you were looking at getting a CCD F45, which just happens to be the same model of camera that I have. And if that's the model you got, then good stuff. It's a great camera. However, mine is badly in need of servicing. It's already chewed up a couple of my tapes, and the eject is screwed up a bit, and so forth. I've cleaned the heads though. I got a head cleaning cassette, borrowed it from the office, and cleaned the heads. So heads are all spanking clean. It's just everything else isn't working properly. Yeah, so that's it. So until next time, you know, stay cool. And I'll talk to you probably in a month or two when video letter 6 arrives in your mailbox. Until then, Jason, Bing, sayonara. This is the date on which this video letter was completed, and this is the time at which it was completed. Goodbye.